You know, I gotta be honest, GALAXIAS has given us a very strong start, and Chapter 4 not only gives us a great conclusion to this fight, to an extent, but also sets us up for what's going to happen in the future and teases us with something massive towards the end of this chapter. And I cannot express how excited I am for the future of this story, because all the potential, everything that we have so far in this series, makes me confident that this will be something that will be big in the future. Also, really quick piece of news. Weekly Shonen Magazine is going to be on break all of next week, so there will be no GALAXIAS chapter. So in 2 weeks we will have Chapter 5. I'm not sure if I'll make a GALAXIAS video for break week, we'll just have to wait and see. It depends on how I set things up for my schedule. But for now, no video for GALAXIAS next week. That could change in the future. But if you want to be notified whenever we do get chapters, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with that out of the way, let's jump right into the chapter. Chapter 4 of GALAXIAS, titled Ups and Downs. Starting off directly from last week, with the fight intensifying between NERAID and Suzy. As she says, "Oh, you're a tough one," as the crowd is getting very entranced in this fight, as Gio's wondering, what is that? Referring to Suzy's arm. As her son states, it's been a while since Mama's gotten so serious, as he just pops out of nowhere. He goes on to explain that a kangaroo dragon can store all kinds of things in their tail. That arm is a high output transformation of all the muscle strength she's accumulated since she was young. As Gio states, "Are you sure that's something a kangaroo can do?" Very good question. And to that I say, I am not looking that up. If you think I'm going to look that up just for the sake of this video, you guys are crazier than I am. Mainly because I'm not too interested at the moment. But maybe I'll look into it in the future. No promises. But we continue with NERAID getting ready for the continuation of this fight, as he says, "Gotcha. So it works the same as that earlier strike," referring to when Suzy knocked him clean out of the bar in the previous chapter. Suzy takes a pebble and flicks it right at NERAID as he dodges. But it's then that Suzy just takes the opportunity and quickly gets on top of NERAID and tries to strike down at him, which he then avoids narrowly once more. As he states, "That was close. I've memorized your arm attack, so it's not going to work again. Go ahead and try if you think," but then, in the next instance, the arm detaches from the tail. As this shocks NERAID, as Suzy then swiftly hits him with her plain tail. As she then appears on top of him and is about to swing at NERAID once more. As he says, it wasn't just her arm. As she then hits NERAID square into the ground with a powerful blow, seemingly knocking him out. As Gio is trying to stop Suzy, Suzy's son tries to stop Gio, but she just punches him out of the way and says, "Get your hands off me." Which, yeah, bud, don't go instantly grabbing a young lady like that in an instance. But Suzy is right on top of NERAID, as she states, "No response. That settles our ranking. Nothing feels quite as good as taking down somebody strong. Losers are such idiots, giving up something so wonderful like that." But then NERAID tumbles over, as this shocks the crowd and Suzy. As NERAID, with a smile on his face, states, "Awesome. I had no idea someone could fight like that. This is the first time I've ever lost this much blood, and hurt this much. What a great new discovery." Honestly, this fits NERAID's personality. Even getting his ass beat, he's like, "I did not expect this to happen. This is new for me. Awesome." As he states, "I don't know what to think, Granny, but fighting you like this is fun. I want to know more. Let's keep fighting." As this gets Suzy fired up, as she says, "Now that I take a closer look, you're one hell of a guy." As NERAID charges at Suzy to land a blow on her, but she manages to block it, and in an instance does her arm-tail combination. As she states, "What a fool, charging straight in like that." But then something happens. NERAID used his bare hand to hold her giant arm tail in place, stating, "I can't move. This arm is a lump of flesh." But with just his fingers, as NERAID says, "I caught ya. Now you can't use your tail, right?" As in that instance, NERAID says, "Now I'll pay you back in full," as he takes his tail and does the exact same thing that Suzy has done, and combine his tail with his arm to create a giant, I'm going to say mace, with his tail, as he then says, blow for blow, as Suzy's surprised that he copied her technique. As he says, time for today's review. Now get flying, as he hits Suzy square in the face and pushes her back with immense force, crashing her into the ground. Suzy begins to think, this is it for me. How splendid. Hurry up and kill me. Even if it's just temporary, I'm a Dragon Knight. I don't want to live with this shame. So this reveals that Suzy was the Dragon Knight of this region, which is pretty interesting. So I'm curious to see how this will play into the future if we do meet her again. NERAID takes his hand out and says, you idiot. Since we fought, we're pals now, right? As apparently Suzy calls him Big Bro, and they clasp their hands. And seems like they're friends now. As she was like, this is kind of moving. And to an extent, I agree with her. NERAID and Suzy square up to continue their fight. As they say, playtime's over. A fight needs a winner and a loser. Time to settle this. As Geo's moved to tears to witness this fight. And as the two of them quickly lunge at each other to land a blow, we hear a kashang. As in the next page, an officer put handcuffs on Suzy and says, okay, you're under arrest. Which shocks not only us, but Geo and NERAID as well, as you're wondering, what's going on right now? So that's one way to end the fight, with the opposing fighter getting arrested before things get concluded. As the officer takes Suzy and her son, NERAID's like, wait, hold on a minute. What's going on? Why is he taking them away? The officer says, you didn't know? These two were notorious dine and dashers, and we've been flooded with reports about them. Well, I've got more work to do, so bye-bye. As he just gets into his cart and just drives off. Yeah, that's one way to end the fight. Super anticlimactic and comedic. I find this hilarious. Honestly, pretty interesting way to go about things, as NERAID was like really got invested in the fight and actually pseudo formed a bond with Suzy as he cries, no! As he thinks about Suzy's words saying, life is filled with ups and downs. And he says, I thought we promised we'd settle things. Meanwhile, Geo is completely uninterested in what just transpired and says, I'd like one of these parfait things, as she orders from the bar that they're currently still in. I like how the fight, despite the fact that she was moved by this clashing of fists, the second that the fight ended, she was like, okay, I'm not interested in this anymore. I'm gonna go try out this new dessert I've never had before. Which, honestly, I'd do the exact same thing. I'd be hungry too after witnessing a fight and an anticlimactic end to that. But yeah, we then move to that evening, as Geo and NERAID are in a giant carriage, as this is called a night coach, and it seems like Polta is actually going to be driving them to their next destination. And for the time being, this seems to be where they're going to be staying as they're on their journey. Geo's obviously concerned that Polta was with them the entire day, and if taking them on this night coach will be too much. But Polta says, I gotta make a name for myself for the company anyway. It's fine. As Geo calls him conniving for a pretty cunning person for his age. As Geo takes off her jacket and is getting comfortable, she then obviously points at NERAID who is staring at her, stating, quit staring, I'm not doing anything weird, am I? But turns out what NERAID was actually staring her at is that he wanted to ask her something, which was, hey, does being excited make you want to poop? As, I don't know, this is an interesting question. Depends how excited. I'm getting off. I don't know why this question got to me so much. Moving on, they continue their conversation. As Geo mentions that in the end, we never decided. You know, our next destination, whether we're going to the ocean or the mountains. As NERAID says, oh, that? We can just do whatever you want, which shocks Geo. NERAID says, what? You don't need to look so shocked. Geo says, well, you didn't feel like giving in this morning. But NERAID just says, well, when I think about it, this is your adventure. Plus, we'll eventually go to both anyway. We don't have any leads on Yuri Host, so let's just take our time for now. As Geo says, come to think of it, why are you looking for Yuri Host, NERAID? As in the very next panel, NERAID is fast asleep and passed out. As Geo was about to basically go to sleep, NERAID calls her out in his sleep. As Joe's like, oh, he's talking to sleep. He must have been really tired. As she says, see you tomorrow. But as Joe's about to lay down to go to sleep, she remembers what Polta said in the previous chapter about people who sleep talk. If you answer someone's sleep talk, then that person will never wake up again. As this catches her attention, but then she tries to go back to sleep, stating, no, I'm not interested, I'm not superstitious like that, but I'm too tired, so let's call it a day. As NERAID is still sleeping in the background, he then starts to speak, ominously. Seems you did hear. NERAID, huh? You gave him a good name, just as I'd expect from my child. Which catches and even kind of scares Gio for a second, as NERAID keeps speaking. You did well to meet him. Aside from some minor slips, it's all according to plan. My name is Yuri Holst. I'm going to give you both your roles as the chapter ends. So, pretty big thing to leave us off with this chapter. Not only did we get a pretty good fight and NERAID learning to use his tail similar to how Susie was using her tail and doing a big attack, the anticlimactic and comedic end to this, but the reveal at the end that somehow, someway, Yuri Holst is speaking to Gio through an unconscious NERAID, stating that everything that's happened so far, barring some slip-ups, is going according to his plan. And they didn't expect anything less from his daughter, stating that now he's going to give NERAID and Gio their roles. What could this mean? I got no clue, but this definitely has to do with his accusation of killing the Dragon King, and where he most likely is. This might be a way for him to lead them to where he is, or to lead them on their journey and give them a direction on what they're supposed to do now that they're off the island and now that they're together. But this also means that Yuri Holst might know NERAID before his amnesia. Could NERAID actually be Gio's father aged down, but with like implanted memories with amnesia to only activate and talk during specific triggers? Or is Yuri Holst somehow speaking through NERAID remotely from an other corner of the world? I have no clue. This is very, very interesting, and I'm very curious to see where this is going to lead to in the future of this series and how this is going to pan out. A very big chapter with this conclusion. I am all too excited for the next one. But unfortunately, break week next week, so we gotta wait 2 weeks for the next chapter of GALAXIAS. But what did you guys think of this chapter? What did you feel about the action? How do you feel about the comedic end to the fight? How do you feel about this whole Yuri Holst big reveal at the end of things? Let me know in the comment section down below with your thoughts, opinions, and theories. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. Now with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.